You guys, so I posted a clip talking about how in 2020, when I lived in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, and I would always go for runs all the time, right? And I started noticing without realizing that it was organized stalking, or I should say, realizing that that was a thing, because I knew, like, my body felt like I'm clearly being followed, right? And I said how cars would literally pull up on me, right? They would drive by me really slow, roll down their window. Sometimes people would make contact, sometimes they wouldn't, but they would always stare me down in a way that was not only energy siphoning because they were intending on making me feel a certain type of way, right? But they would then pull up a little bit ways down the road, and it was like they were waiting for me to run by, stay there for like a minute, and then they would drive off. And I just wanted to preface, like, multiple streets that I would run on, they would then show up. So it's like somebody that's just driving around a neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, when I say that, like, someone's clearly following me, it's like you're making yourself known numerous times within a half-hour period. Like, any logical mind would think, why is this car with out-of-state plates showing up on every street that I'm running on, right? And sometimes when we do the live, like, just watching that back, I'm glad we're doing that because my delivery with certain things isn't very clear. Like, it's like I think of something and I feel so scatterbrained in the moment, like being on the live, that I just kind of spit things out. And watching it back, I'm seeing where I need to, like, give more receipts. And even at the end of that video, I just showed a picture from my old job, but it's not the video of the car actually flickering the lights at me. You know what I'm saying? But what I also wanted to share was, even though back in 2020, I didn't have, like, obviously a full understanding of what was going on, why this was happening, but the human brain knows when it's being watched, when you're being followed. You can very much feel like you're being hunted, which is essentially what this is. This is trafficking, right? Trafficking comes in all forms. And especially seeing those, like, New York plates, like, a lot of times it was men. And I'm like, this very much feels like trafficking. And at that time, like, it was just so awkward to, like, feel that I'm being watched in my own personal spaces, right? Like, again, the human brain knows when it's being watched. Certain signs that I had that I was very much being watched on hidden cameras, right? Which again is also a form of human trafficking, because when that's being streamed on the web unbeknownst to you, and, like, people are paying to see because other people are pretending to be you online, multiple streams of income are stemming from one person unbeknownst to them. And I'm glad to see that people are waking up to this, but it's like the severity of these tactics that are done by people in secret societies, because they're all banking on a life insurance policy. In the meantime, they're all finding ways to make extra income off of one person. Again, this is unbeknownst to them. They're just a clueless cash cow. And again, guys, I just want to add, this is why it's so important to always pay attention to how you feel around certain people. Because when people would drive by, like while I was running, and people would drive by and flip me off, you know what I mean? Like, at first I'm like, God damn, like, what the fuck? Like they would drive by and I'd be like, yeah, fuck your mother. But also keep in mind, like, I said how I had to have an interview with the state police when I lived in Maine because of my ex that was a cop that got fired, right? So I was always blaming stuff on him, like, as a joke, because this is also when the show You first came out, the show Dirty John, and a lot of the things that were being done in the show were being done to me, and I felt that. And I kept saying, I'm like, man, it's like I watch those shows for a reason, because it feels like this is happening to me, right? And it was. I was saying all these things out loud that were actually happening, right? Even though to some people you're going to sound like a total fucking idiot, it doesn't fucking matter. It's like you have an intuition for a reason. And when people were flipping me off, and I would go back home and, like, reiterate to the people around me, like, what was happening, and I'm like, yeah, like, what the fuck? And I would watch people that I was expressing this to, look at each other and like grin. They would be smiling with their eyes. It was all right in front of my face. And it's like, guys, this is why you gotta pay attention. How do people make you feel? It doesn't matter who they are to you. How does your body feel when you're around them? Because when people see your potential, they're gonna try to hide those potential goggles from you, but they're also gonna take steps to make sure that you don't grow, you don't surpass them in the success lane, right? And just because you're not in a secret society, just because you don't have friends in higher places who know how to make extra funds, like, this is very much, I saw somebody on YouTube, he said this is the world's best kept secret.